Hi, my name is Pat Augsburger. I am the Artist Member Coordinator here at Gallery Route 1. I'd like to welcome you to my exhibition titled Time of Wonder. For this exhibition, I picked paintings that depict people in the midst of wonder, imagination, and curiosity. I was inspired by my mother and her sense of wonder for choosing the paintings that I picked for this show. This is a painting here of my mother on her wedding day, and she was a person that was raised in a very strict conservative religious background, but she loved things that she was not exactly allowed to do, loved the opera, music, the arts, fashion, and that inspired me and all the rest of her children in our lives to be very creative and curious. And I honor her in this exhibition for that, because without that, I would not be the artist that I am today. Most of these paintings are of family members, and my family, I think, have also picked up on the sense of curiosity that I have hoped to show in these paintings. I chose the titles for these paintings from the book The Time of Wonder by Robert McCloskey. It was one of my mother's favorite books to read to us as children. If you ever have a chance to look up this book and read it to yourself or to your children, it's a wonderful book about imagination, and I like to think that I have portrayed some of that imagination in these paintings. These paintings are the beginning of a change in my artistic style. I was very influenced by abstract expressionist painters, Elaine de Kooning, Joan Mitchell, and I really loved integrating a more abstract background with my subjects. These are some of the first of these paintings. And I would say Joan Mitchell was probably one of my main influences in just the loose brush stroke, but yet still trying to tell a story with subjects. I like integrating the subject into the abstract background. I have had a very short painting career. I started it after I've done many other things, teach, photography, quilt, weave, and I was very fortunate to have a very dear friend who is an extremely accomplished painter as my mentor. And she has guided me through my last few years of painting and listened to me call her in the middle of the night saying, I can't do this anymore. And she said, just keep going. You just keep painting. That's what you do, is her words are just paint. But one of the things we talked about a lot was the process of slow looking. And I have really taken that to heart in my painting process. And I'll read a quote that she talked about the process of slow looking. She states that ideally, this slow looking evolves into a painting that tells me something about myself that I didn't already know and moves me in directions much more interesting than where I thought I was going. When this starts to happen, I experience the most wonderful sensation of becoming the medium rather than the author of the work. The painting starts to direct me rather than the other way around. This is a truly heady sensation, one that the more than any other feeds my soul and gives me the reason to paint. In order to be willing to spend time just looking, I've had to develop faith that the process will work, and that faith gives me the tenacity and patience I need to simply sit and look no matter how long it takes for the muse to speak. I have found this process to be helpful with every painting that I have done. I tend to paint rather quickly and think I'm done. And then she keeps telling me to take the time and look and sit with the painting and let the painting talk to you and see where it wants to go. And that has been so helpful in my process. This painting that you are seeing now is of my two favorite muses. They are my grandchildren, and I hope to continue painting them as they grow. They're twins. They are now 6 years old, and I just could paint them every day and no one else. But they're so inspiring to me in their freedom, their love of life, their happiness with the world, that it just is a wonderful thing to paint. Thank you for coming and watching this video, and I hope you enjoy the show. If you have a chance, come by and see it in person. Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Jenny-Lynn Marr. I'm Paiute and Pit River from Susanville, California. And I'm glad to be showing here at the Gallery Route 1 again. I did several years ago, about 20 or so years ago. So I'll talk about my work a little bit. This is a piece of a California native, and we've been fenced in or fenced out of our land gathering places. California was stolen when the treaties were going to get ratified. They got lost because of the gold rush. So we still don't have land or places to be. Just very little. We live on a pile of rocks, and the good land is at the bottom where the farmers have it. I use lace as a metaphor, a feminine metaphor. This is Pollyanna Princess. She is doing this symbol that we always see, stereotype. And then I put jets in there because that's part of my environment. It's like what happens in the Great Basin area. They've been really training jet fighters a lot. This next piece shows the chemtrails that they leave in the sky, in the Great Basin. And one time I looked up and it looked like they spelled out hell. This is called Heavenly Message. It's a monoprint. And I just, that's kind of a way of saying, I don't want war. I don't think any of us want war. But they're preparing for it because what's going on in the news lately, it's kind of sad that I have to try to explain to kids what that's for. This is called CoverGirl, and I took images that the government photographers had taken of Indian women, and they were nude, but they set them in this boudoir pose, and she's not very happy about it. And I put a cover on her, I put a top on her so her breasts wouldn't show, so I call it CoverGirls. And there's a jet flying over us. This is a piece I called Me E Too. This is the image of Ishi and a South American Indian. There used to be a trade route. They used to trade from the southernmost tip of of South America to the northernmost Point Barrow, Alaska. They have Cancun feathers up there, up in the north. They've traded throughout thousands of years of traveling back and forth and trading. And I was just showing how we were connected at one time. We'd sure like to have another World Fest again, but we'd be breaking a lot of laws because a lot of things can't be brought across borders. Okay, this is the one I did. It's a combination of a monoprint and handmade paper and screen printing. It's about a lady in the boudoir, and there's a jet flying right by her. That's what happened to me. My own experience was I was in my bedroom and a jet came swooping down real close. They do that to Indian rancherias, but they don't do it in nice white communities. It's just too close. They just come down too close. And people have said, yes, they've had that experience too. So that's kind of sad that we have to look forward to that. This is called Wild Roses. I took this picture of this elder at the bear dance, and she was so cute, and she giggled. I said, can I take your picture? She was just so cute. And her name was Rose, so I gave it the name Wild Roses. It's an etching I did years ago. This was a poster I did for the 10th Annual American Indian Music Festival in Powwow in the Bay Area. Intertribal was putting that on in 1994. And it shows the California Indians playing the songs of the birds. I put the symbol of the Golden Gate Bridge there because they were having their performances close by that area. And it's just wonderful music that we've never heard before. Just beautiful sounds, beautiful, some different kind of song, different kind of music than we normally hear on the radio. So it was really, really beautiful and nice to have them come here and play music for us. This is another one, Pollyanna Princess, always looking for something. And so I have these army guys in the next image over, because what happens to Indian people, look at Standing Rock, they just brought the army in really, and brought cannons in, and they were just really hostile to the Indian people that were just trying to protect the land and not have the oil pipelines going through their land. This is some kind of buckaroo. I did this at Self-Help Graphic in Los Angeles. It was a Chicana organization, and I did this of Willie Sundown. He just really was a champion in Pendleton, Oregon, but they wouldn't give him the awards. He won everything, but because he was a native, they wouldn't give him the awards. Maybe someday they will, like they did with other Indian people who were champions in this area. And it's kind of a symbol of the earth when I put the lace on there. Very fragile, very delicate. We need to take care of her. This is going back to the res. I did this one thinking about the stories of my grandmother, how they all puddled in the back of a pickup and went to the big time. And the big time was in Cedarville, and she told me we have these big times so the young people won't marry their cousins. They'll know who their relatives are. They have to marry somebody different. So that was the reason for the big times, to get the young people together, and so they would know who their relatives are and which ones to marry. Then I went to South America, and I was just so impressed with how the land is and how beauty it is. And it just, they were just battled with the Spaniards and with their dogs, and just horrible. And this is called She's the Amazon. We've got to protect the Amazon, because that affects us. They're cutting it down, the trees down, and that affects us because the Amazon brings in water to us in the United States. And so we really have to keep it up instead of destroying it. It's going to really have a big effect on the United States if they destroy the Amazon. And here's another one from the boudoir. This, I have a helicopter going by because I hear a helicopter all the time. when we're there in Susanville, and we always know it's just the hospital going by, but it's still I react that it's another kind of a weapon against us. And so I love to use lace. I do the images of the California basket designs in my artwork. I'm very proud of it. And here she is again, the cover girl. And this is the earth and how beautiful it is, and the stars in the sky. And the jets have to be flying through there. I made it pink to kind of have it more subtle and not so dramatic. This is a monoprint I did. I just love working big. I have a nice big press, and I invite a lot of people over, students and elders. I bring them in, especially after the COVID. It was so nice to bring them in and get them going again. This is Minnie Haha Lives. In this, I just took all these images I found in history books of Minnie Haha. And like this one, you can't see it, but she's pulling her buckskin up. That's how they drew her. And this one, she's on the left side, she's flying through the trees, bare-chested. They always have to make images like this. Very sexual, very kind of distasteful. So I made fun of it. It's a humor piece. Okay, this is our warriors, and it's all about what Indians have done throughout, getting land, trying to get their land back, and they don't want to sell their land, and our land is ours again. This is the kind of thing that they are working on now. A lot of places are being torn up, and they're fantastic gathering places or spiritual places, and the Indians want them back or have access to them. And so that's what we're doing right now. We're trying to get our land back so we can take care of it again, because a lot of it's been destroyed, and then people want to fix it back up. And this is from the boudoir window again. I just love making it, and I love lace and handmade paper and printing, silk screen, everything I can think of. I like to do, and I put fabric in there too. I like this. I look for wild fabrics I can put in my handmade paper. I just love making paper during the summertime. It's just lots of fun. You wear your shorts and get soaking wet. It's just wonderful. Perfect time. Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate being invited here to Gallery Route 1. Thank you, everybody. They've been so wonderful to me and kind-hearted. I appreciate that.
Greetings, my name is Jenny-Lynn Hall, and I'm an artist member here at Gallery Route 1, and I'm also the co-director of our Visiting Artist Program. Today I'm going to show you my latest work. It's basically a show of studies. It's in the annex here, and it's our smallest gallery, and it's sort of a workspace. A lot of people do installations. Last artist exhibiting had created a room out of photos. Someone else hung photos on silk, and you walked around them. So it's kind of a fun little space, and I'm using it as a place to showcase some of the ideas that I'm working through. This is really a work in progress studies for larger paintings that I'll do for my larger show in the Center Gallery next year. So I'll show you what I've been doing. My last show here in the annex was called Diary, and it was seascapes that were exactly the same size and had a consistent horizon line. I actually drew the horizon line in red chalk, and the paintings were all larger than these. They were about 30 by 18 inches, and they were perfectly divided. And they were just studies of the sea at the same time every day. And everyone was different because the relationships between the colors of the sky and the ocean continually change. And I've been working with that for several years, actually, just observing nature and the colors in nature. And sometimes I interpret them a little wildly, like here. I think it's just when the craft of painting takes over, it can be really freeing. But anyways, I was at the De Young, and on the wall there, they have these 3 enormous paintings by Ed Rushka, and the horizon line in that was really, really low. And I thought, wow, I should really experiment with that, just different placements of the horizon, because it does change your perspective. So So these are about working with changing horizon lines and color. And so I'm going to see what works for to how I'll interpret them in larger paintings. They're sort of randomly hung in the order that I did them. And somehow they kind of just work as a group. The themes that kind of repeat themselves often are working in a grid. I often do paintings in grids, and I just really like repetition. So this is kind of the same size, the same ideas, but different takes on it. Some are a little more figurative. You see a little more landscape. Other are just completely abstract. I started working with, you know, if the horizon line's low, then the sky is really big. But if it's high, then what's under? Does it stop at the ground? Is it just about what you see on the face of the earth, or is it actually about what's going on underneath? And these paintings also, I wanted to use much brighter colors. My last show, which was in the center gallery, had a lot of really dark images, and the last one, called Dear Heart, had really bright imagery, and it sort of was as if something shifted. And I realized that it's important for me to try to bring light, to try to just create a positivity that hopefully will resonate with viewers. You know, colors really can complement each other in different ways, just to bring out different sensations. And it's fun. I mean, it's so enjoyable just working in oil paint and feeling its texture and blending colors. It's really a joy. I've been working with plaster a lot, and it just doesn't have the same consistency. It's great for other reasons, but playing around with transparency and opacity here, it's just really fun. So there is a degree of experimentation in these little paintings. They're pretty itsy bitsy. Normally I work pretty large, but these are only 8 by 10 inches. And that's sort of freeing. They're less precious, so it just gives you a lot more, I don't know, it gives me more boldness just to try different things, paint over things if it's not working out. So stay tuned. Next year you'll see versions of these much larger and in a much larger gallery. Thanks for visiting.